bitch is nasty. The bitch is giving niggas HIV. The bitch might even have HIV. I'm gonna be real with the bitch. I've been listening to that bitch every day, knowing that I'm HIV positive. Give a fuck about that bitch. Bitch, now you got HIV now, bitch. And you got gonorrhea, chlamydia, general herpes. Bitch, play with it. And for the nigga who she fucked, you better go get tested. Cause I know your niggas don't fight.
Okay, y'all. This your girl, Miss Danny, baby. Back one more again. As this Negro has said, let's play with it. Let's play with it. The reason why I've had this video for a while, I saw this a few months ago, and it kind of just like really disturbed me. But what made me really think about it hard body right now is because there's this, this rumor going around, and it could be not true, that 70% of the women in black women in Fulton County are HIV infected. Now, I do think that those statistics are kind of like skewed to some degree, but there is an element of truth to it. And the reason why I want to bring up this conversation, ladies, is because I want you to be aware, especially for sexually active people. I want you to be aware that there are people with very dangerous diseases out here that do not give a fuck. They have no fucks to give about you staying HIV negative, or being negative of other diseases. Some of these people are so insane and so full of hate and so full of destruction and chaos, and are so miserable because of their own circumstances that they don't mind passing it along. Now, we've all heard, or many of us have heard, about the dude that's in, where is he now? In Mexico, the cat Nature Boy is coming out that he probably has HIV, and he has people in his camp with that definitely do have HIV, and it's like one big gumbo soup of motherfuckers with diseases cohabitating with each other and raw dogging and having babies, and it's just a clusterfuck of, oh my god, I can't even. And this is no shade to people who have caught sexually transmitted infections and diseases through no fault of their own. Someone maybe like a significant other or somebody that you were serious about brought home something. But even in cases like that, this is a wake-up call that we have to be cognizant and aware of where our partners are probably putting their genitals. I mean, because you got to think, there are some people out here with, not just one or two partners, which is already risky enough, but there are cats with multiple people in rotation. You hear me? And this is very prevalent in certain communities, like the black community, where sexual promiscuity of the men is celebrated, but is condemned on the female side. Okay? And it's like, how are you going to have an abundant number of males that are out here doing their own thing with no fucks to give to anybody about what they do and do not do, and are very sexually fluid and free, but that same group of women that they're supposed to be paired with are gonna go unscathed when you have men that are doing or are behaving this way. Now, I'm not saying that there are no promiscuous black chicks with several partners and rotation their goddamn selves. I'm not saying that, but it is a problem that so many Black women are unawares that the very cats that they are in love with or maybe find very attractive, very sexy and very chocolate, like this dumbass Negro here, but they silently hate you. This is a problem. The dick you sitting on, sis, can actually hate your ass and be glad to give you every infection known to man. So you have to be careful. You have to do your investigating. If you're okay with your dude having like 3 other girlfriends, you better be knowing what the fuck they got. I don't suggest that, but I'm just saying, just be careful when it comes time to pull down your panties and give it to somebody. You have to be careful. You have to be careful, because there are people that are out there that are ready and willing to give you not only a physical disease such as HIV and AIDS, but also a spiritual disease, where they infect you with their poisonous mindset and their broken energy. Okay, so we're gonna get into it, the statistics that are going around right now. Okay, so here's a map of the Atlanta area, and as you can see by the different colors, there's orange, there's purple, there's like this pinkish dark pink color, like a fuchsia, there's like I said, orange, yellow. The darker colors are where the prevalence of HIV and AIDS is the worst. So as you can see, it's very concentrated, like in the center here, and then the further out you go, it gets a little lighter. The statistics that people are talking about are Fulton County, and like 90% from my research, about 90% of Atlanta is Fulton County, and then the other 10% is DeKalb County. So the statistics supposedly are saying that 70% of the people, or the women in the Fulton County area, the Black women, have the HIV virus. So I was like, oh my God, this is something I need to check on. What the hell is going on? We already know that Atlanta is pretty bad. You can see it's very interesting because the CDC is in Atlanta, the Center of Disease Control, and they have the worst HIV epidemic in the country. Like, make that make sense. Like, it doesn't. So there's the map, and I'll link these sites below, but I'm gonna widen this page so you guys can see it. Just a moment. Okay, so here we are. I've spread out the page a little bit so you can see a little better. This is, I just went over the map, but then, it tells us how many people since 2016 have been living with HIV in Atlanta. It's over 35,000, and that's really, really huge, of human beings living with HIV in Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia. And look at the statistics when the ratios are compared male to female. That this is not counting race. This is just male to female. 80% are male, and 19% total are female. That shows you that the transmission to males and between males is very very, very high. And then by race, on the right hand side, it shows us that it's 70%, 70.2% is Black, 6.7% is Hispanic or Latino, and 18% are white. This number of 70% being Black, that's very, very alarming, because actually there are more whites in Atlanta than Blacks. So go figure with that. If you scroll down, and the CDC, it does its reporting like every so often. These are the most recent reports that I could actually find. But apparently there's, this information coming out that they're about to come out with a more updated report. But, you know, diseases follow trends, so I don't expect it to be much different than it was in 2016 when we're talking about 2018 going into 2019, but it could very well be even worse. And again, it's telling us 83% male to 16% female ratio. Deaths as far as like mortality with HIV, 360 in the Atlanta area versus 800 for the entire state. That's almost half just for one measly city, even though Atlanta is a big city, but still one city compared to the whole state, and you're almost half of the numbers of that. That's crazy. And you know, it's showing us like the population here again, as we can see by the yellow, that's the white, and then the blue here is actually the black population. So again, the whites, their population is higher, and blacks, even though the black population is pretty huge, it's still not as high as the whites, and yet the blacks have 70% of the HIV transmission rates. That's crazy. And look at this. This was sickening. It gives you like, it shows you like bodies, little cartoon bodies here to show you the difference in ratio. The first one right here is the rate of black males living with HIV diagnosis compared to whites. All of these statistics are compared to white people. So it's showing you the black, and the black people are in the blue. The yellow right here is supposed to dictate white. There's 5 bodies here compared to 1 white person. That's crazy. 4.8%. The Latino rate is 1.4 times the rate of white males when you're talking about males. But look at the females, y'all. The rate of black females living with HIV diagnosis is 14.7 times that of the white female population. 14%. Now, we know this ratio is not because of female to female sex, because it's actually hard for females to get, if you're lesbian, to get it from another woman. It's easier for a woman based on her anatomy to contract sexually transmitted diseases through heterosexual penetration by the very nature of her body. Something goes in and is inserted, and by the nature of a woman's body, where she's like an intake valve where things go in and she absorbs the fluids of the person she's having sex with. And she also, being that her vagina is like a I can't think of the word. Let me think of it real quick. The word I was looking for was portal. Okay, it's like a portal for things to come out and for things to go in. Energy can go in and energy and life can come out. So being that she has this extremely precious, valuable portal sitting between her thighs and is willy-nilly giving it to beings that are unworthy, it's like the universe is telling her that she's doing something wrong by these statistics when it comes to disease. Now, I do not doubt that the government is influencing these numbers to some degree, because there's no way the Centers for Disease Control, which it was created since the 40s to keep track of disease, and the reason why they want to keep track of disease is supposedly to prevent it, but the epicenter of HIV is in the same city that this friggin' this entity is seated. It doesn't make sense. But even if they are influencing these numbers, maybe helping transmission in some kind of covert, sneaky way, I don't want to get too much into conspiracy, but even if that is or was or is the case, there is personal accountability that is at play here. And the group of Black people, the population as a whole, the people that are sexually active, are unfortunately not taking responsibility or being as accountable as they can be. And looking right over here shows the Hispanic female population is like 4.2% compared to the white female population. So it's still extremely high even for them over their white counterparts, but not nearly as bad. The Black woman is doing the worst in these statistics, which is how somebody can throw out this 70% number, because look at how the diagnosis is so much higher than everybody else. But again, the female anatomy being a portal that accepts energy, that means somebody has to be giving it to her. And since we already know that lesbians, it's very difficult for them to transmit HIV between each other, this has to be coming from the male that the Black female has the most sex with, and that is the Black male. It's unfortunate, but it's true. And we're going to have to exercise more responsibility when we have sexual partners to prevent these type of diseases and circumstances. I mean, the universe is getting in the Black woman's ass, whether it's you having complications and mortality in childbirth, you're having difficulty raising your kids, you're catching diseases at a high rate, everything around sexuality as a whole, we're being punished. And I'm not just getting on some Bible shit. I mean, this is like metaphysical. It really is like this, how should I say, this really low frequency that we're carrying, that we are having trouble exercising from our lives as a whole. I'm not talking about me personally, even though we all, each and every single one of us, have our own individual challenges that we face and that we deal with every day. Nobody is perfect, but as a group, the Black female is having a lot of trouble when it comes to her romantic situations, her sexual situations, her spiritual interaction with her mate situations. These men are shitting on their women in the Black community. It just is what it is. Need I play the video by the nigga that's up there talking about he done gave the girl HIV, chlamydia, syphilis, and every damn thing, and her next dude, they need to play with it? Oh my God, what an evil, corrupt human being, to be glad that you gave somebody a deadly disease. To even think that, I would be horrified even if I even thought I gave somebody something that could potentially kill them. Like, dude, we're not talking about gonorrhea, and that's bad enough, but HIV? Are we laughing at this now? But anyway, here's the percentages. The gray areas is 83% diagnosed with HIV in 2016, and then the light blue is people diagnosed with AIDS. And look at this right here. The red in this circle is 67.9, almost 70% is male-to-male sexual contact. If you look on the female side, overwhelmingly, the purple area, it's heterosexual contact. The other encompasses things like transfusions, surgeries. The drug category has a category all its own in the light blue, but the other large category in the blue is considered other by other things. Like I said, surgeries, being a hemophiliac and getting a transfusion or something like that is causing a large number as well. But for women, it's generally heterosexual. And when you see on the male side, heterosexual contact is only accounts for 3.4%. So again, men are giving this to women at high rates, even in the white community. The white women that do catch this are overwhelmingly getting it from their male counterparts, and that's just based on how the female anatomy is made. And here's an article from the Georgia.gov website where they're talking about rates of infection. This is printed out 2016, and they went back to 2012, between 2012 and 2017. So that's since all the way up to last year. And it breaks it down in between the EMA. I had to look that up. It's eligible metropolitan area and areas that are outside of the EMA. And when we're talking about eligible areas, metropolitan areas, they're talking about eligible for government funding to receive assistance. If your area has over 2,000 cases and it's 50,000 or more persons living in your area, then you can apply and for government funding. So when you see these people talking about HIV, like on different like programs and stuff, and they're talking about, oh, you can go downtown or you can go such and such, yada yada yada, and get you some medication. The reason why their medication can be discounted so greatly, or in some cases some people probably get it for free in certain cities, is because those areas have been considered eligible for government aid. And that's good and it's bad. I mean, it's good that you're getting aid from the government, but it's bad that, okay, it had to be this bad. It had to be over 2,000 cases or more. And as we saw in Atlanta area, it's over 35,000 cases. But as long as it's over 2,000 and you have at least a population of 50,000, your area can become eligible for aid. So it's like, wow. I'm glad for the help, but that means my area is increasing with HIV cases. So it's like, damn, it's a catch-22. And so this article by the Georgia website is telling you, you know, the percentages based on the EMA areas and the areas outside of EMA. I guess that's like more like rural areas. It said in 2014, there were 2,640 new HIV diagnoses. And it says Fulton and DeKalb counties counted for 63% of new diagnoses. And 68% of PLWH, which is people living with HIV in the EMA, is 42% of new diagnoses and 45% of PLWH in Georgia. People living with HIV in Georgia. Look at this number here. Like I told y'all, over 80% of new diagnoses of people living with HIV were among males, and 2/3 were among African Americans, Black African Americans. Over 80% of new diagnoses were attributed to male-to-male sex. Among women, the great majority of new diagnoses were attributed to heterosexual contact. A higher percent of new HIV diagnoses among white women were attributed to injection drug use. And we do have a lot of meth users in different cities across America, so that's not unbelievable. That sounds about right. And traditionally, blacks are really not into meth like that. I don't know if that will change, but it's really sad, y'all. And I'm not going to read to you. You guys are not 3-year-olds. So I'll just post the links to these articles that I found and let you do the research for yourself, because it's more believable and you can absorb it more when you do your own research. But these, remember, I was talking about the EMA, and it also breaks it down by transitional grant areas. I believe these are areas that have applied but haven't gotten full funding yet, but they're in transition, or either they're in transition to becoming eligible because the HIV is increasing at a high rate. But look at the cities that have already been eligible. Atlanta is at the top. We already know that Baltimore, like that DC area up there, has epidemic rates. Boston, Chicago, Dallas, Detroit, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Houston, Los Angeles, Miami, Nassau, New York, New Haven, Connecticut, New Orleans, New York, New Jersey, Newark, Orlando, Philadelphia, Phoenix, San Diego, San Francisco, Puerto Rico, wow, Tampa, Washington, West Palm Beach. Dude, it's all across this motherfucker. But that South is really getting its ass kicked. But a lot of these northeastern cities also. It's really, really crazy. And again, ladies, based on the fact that our anatomy is the way it is, we have to be careful. Don't be giving folks punani all willy-nilly. Your life depends on it. And the demonic frequencies, the demonic energies, where these people are just hateful from their core. They're hateful from their core. And they probably grew up in hateful situations where they weren't treated right, as kids, and that's sad and whatever. But once you're a grown-up and you're interacting with other grown-ups, to be that hateful and just willingly... I don't understand how you even enjoy your orgasm and you have this deadly disease. It's not like you have a cold. I mean, you have this deadly disease that can kill the next person. There's no way I could even enjoy the orgasm knowing that I'm killing some dude. Like really. These are demons, and they're hateful, and they do not give a fuck about you. And we have to stop thinking just because someone is the same color as you, and they're not an angel just because they're a different color than you. So don't get it twisted. Don't go thinking, oh, I can freestyle fuck the Asian dude or a island dude or some dude from Germany just because they're not black. No, that's not what I'm saying. It's all people that you have sexual contact with and that you're spiritually transferring energy. Not only can you catch these deadly diseases that can kill your body, but they can also transmit energy to you that can kill your soul. That much hate that's imprinted on that person's semen. And if you're willingly letting them inject that hate up into your womb, trust me, you're going to have problems. That's why so many black women out here with their minds all crazy and just scatterbrained as it is. These motherfuckers is laughing at you. They feel like, why should they go down alone, with a nasty disease? Just to put something on your brain, some of these diseases are so freaking gross. I remember a girl that worked in an old folks home, and she said this dude was like an elderly gentleman. He was, I hate to even call him gentleman, whatever, but he was an older dude, about like 70 years old, and he had dementia, so he couldn't remember a lot, and he was incapable of taking care of himself at this point. But so they had to wash him and everything, and change him and wash his private area and whatnot. And this dude had like severe herpes. And I remember this girl telling me the story because it was so horrifying. She said that, they had to go in and wash him up or whatever. And when periodically he would have his outbreak of herpes, and they said they will wash him up like, God damn. She said the blisters was so bad, and she said he had a huge ding-a-ling. And they say dudes with huge ding-a-lings, sometimes they be the most promiscuous. So, hey, take that for what it's worth. But this elderly dude who was out of his mind, couldn't even take care of himself at this point. But when he would have these outbreaks, she said these sores would just ooze pus and be bleeding and pus. And she said it smelled so friggin' horrible bad. She said it almost like it was a smell that would like gag you. Like, oh my God. I was like, damn, for real? Herpes even got a smell? So if herpes, which you can technically live with, it could be uncomfortable, but you can live with it. If it's that horrifying, just imagine something that could actually take you on up out of here. With the infection, they say people with that can get all kind of scalp infections, skin lesions, sores on the genitals. It even get down to like blood problems and cancer. It's just really, really crazy. Imagine the flu, which already makes you feel like you're dying. Imagine the flu times 100 or 1,000. Do you want some kind of disease like that? And condoms, you can get them at your local clinic. You can ask your doctor's office for them. And these days and times, before they cut off all access to prophylactics and whatnot, take advantage. Even if you aren't sexually active at this point, and if you're not, I don't blame you. Have you a box of condoms just stored in your dresser drawer, just in case a year from now you decide that you want to have a sexual experience with a guy that you care for and that you interact with. But it's always better to be ready before a situation occurs, because we don't want to be part of these damn statistics where these disease demons are just dumping toxic energy into your womb. And you can be of any age. Like I said, the man was elderly gentleman. I keep saying gentleman, but an elderly dude. I think she said like he was in his 70s with herpes just busting out everywhere. So you don't think it's no 70-year-old dudes without HIV. And just like there could be 70-year-old dudes, there could be 20-year-old dudes. And for any men that watch this video, I mean, you can take it for what it is. You need to be careful to protect yourself, and to also make sure that if you did have something, this is male and female alike, that you're not spreading it. Because you can even have HIV, a variation of it, and you can go into the world thinking, well, I already got it, so it's over, let me just go on and fuck whoever. You can still get syphilis on the top of that. You can also get another variation, another strain of HIV on top of that could be worse than the one that you already have. I mean, it's just very scary. It's very scary. It just makes me like, shudder just at the thought of it, that they're saying now that 70% is possible. We don't have the final numbers yet, but they're saying that it's possible that 70% of the Black female population in Fulton County, which is a large segment, a predominant segment of the Atlanta area, have HIV, as far as like the newly diagnosed cases. So it's something to think about. Don't trust these demons out here. And let me leave you with this guy's parting words so that you will remember that these folks don't give a fuck. Once they feel like they caught that monster, they feel like, why should I spare you? So the truth is, you're going to have to spare yourself.
Man, the bitch is nasty. The bitch is giving niggas HIV. The bitch might even have HIV. I'm gonna be real with the bitch. I've been busting that bitch every day, knowing that I'm HIV positive. Give a fuck about that bitch. Bitch, now you got HIV now, bitch. And you got gonorrhea, chlamydia, general herpes. Bitch, play with it. And for the nigga who she fuck, you better go get tested. Cause I know your niggas don't fight.